Hello, guys. My name is Brandon Hess. My amateur radio call sign is November Lima 7 Charlie Whiskey. I am president and founder for the Last Frontier Volunteer Examiner Club. And today we're going to give you a little presentation on who we are, what we do, and what our contribution is to amateur radio within the 49th state. So let's get to it. So Last Frontier Volunteer Examiner Club was just recently established in Alaska. We were established in November of 2022. Our current club call sign, as it is today, is Whiskey Lima 7 Victor Echo Charlie. That is WL7 VEC. What makes us a little bit unique is that we are 100% Alaska-based as far as our governing board is concerned. All of our governing board members are Alaska residents, licensed in Alaska, and every single one of us are active in the amateur radio service. Also, we're a registered nonprofit corporation within the state of Alaska, as required by law. When you become a nonprofit corporation, the state of Alaska requires you to register for nonprofit status, and that's exactly what we've done. And then, of course, we do have a website, because I know a lot of people like to ask what our website is. And our website can be accessed on your favorite web browser by going to WL7VEC.org. Again, Whiskey Lima 7 Victor Echo Charlie.org. So people ask, well, who do we serve? Well, it's kind of simple. We really serve the amateur radio community as a whole, but we serve Alaska first. Alaska is our number one priority. And Alaska always takes priority in the services that we provide. And the biggest thing that people need to realize is, our long-term goal, as it is right now, is to fill this large void that Alaska has, which is offering amateur radio license examinations to people who live in Alaska, who are in areas that don't have reliable connectivity. We have ways of getting exams to them through several different means that other organizations don't. As it stands also today, we are beginning to promote our services to those who live in Bush, Alaska. We are going to begin a very large campaign to get this word out to people who live in Bush, Alaska. So if you live in the bush and you want to get a license or you want to get your upgrade, we have the tools, we have the resources, and it would be our absolute pleasure to serve you. Also, part of what our goal is, another one of our goals rather, is to start spreading our information out on some of the state HF nets, like the Alaska Pacific Emergency Preparedness Net on 20 meters, the Alaska Bush Net on 7.093, also the Alaska Snipers Net on 3920, and the Motley Net on 3933. We are going to try and get the word out on all four of those major statewide HF nets to allow for people to know who we are, what we're doing, and that we are here. Also, we've talked about it before. We also do plan to send bulletins out to other clubs around the state, not Anchorage, but other clubs who are off the road system, who are not doing in-person testing, but would like to have a resource to tap into for getting people licensed. We are going to get in touch with some of those organizations to let them know that we are here, what we're doing, and what we're all about. And then, of course, we can't forget we do patronize social media. So we will definitely make sure that social media has a presence with us, and that the people who do use social media can also help us get the word out. And of course, for those of you who have it yourselves, by all means, share this video, and hopefully the more people that can see who we are and what we're doing, the more people would be able to come see us for testing and come check us out and see what we're all about. We like to also tell people testing applicants or testing folks outside is really given on a space available basis. And for those of you who are in the lower 48, when we say outside, it is an Alaska term, meaning if you're in the lower 48. So if you're outside of Alaska, we say that you're outside, and we give you guys exams on a space available basis. If you've got 5 people signed up and they're all Alaska residents, and that's the capacity of our session, unfortunately, we can't take anybody else. Or even if we had 4 people signed up in Alaska and 2 or 3 people in the lower 48 wanting to test, we give Alaska residents preference, because that's exactly how we're set up to operate. So really, as far as license testing, we offer 4 different types of license testing. We do fully remote testing, which is what a lot of people are commonly familiar with, especially as of March of 2020. We also do what's called hybrid in-person license testing in person for those that want to test fully in person with us. And then we also do proctored remote license testing. And we're going to talk about what each one of these are. So fully remote testing is really like this. You got an applicant in a room with 2 video feeds in the same room, and at least 3 accredited volunteer examiners watching you on Zoom or by whatever means we're able to monitor you on video. We do it over video, and we use a web-based exam platform. For example, we use a web-based exam platform called Ham ExamGen. That is hamexamgen.com. If you're not familiar, it's a great platform. I encourage anybody to take us up on it or take a look at it. So that's how we do it for fully remote testing. Now we're talking about hybrid in-person testing. So hybrid in-person testing is really a mix. It's kind of the best of both worlds. So we have all of our applicants in a minimum of 1 or 2 accredited volunteer examiners in a room with all the applicants in the same room. And typically we would have 1 or 2 volunteer examiners to still meet the minimum requirement of 3 to certify monitoring by video. So if you had 5 applicants in a room, you could have 1 VE physically present and 2 VEs monitoring by video, or you could have 2 VEs present and 1 monitoring by video. But as long as you've got a minimum of 3 to certify, you're good to go. And that's what we call a hybrid in-person testing. And hybrid in-person testing is done almost identical to a remote exam. We use a web-based exam platform to give the test. So we've got people who are on video who can certify, and also the folks present, they can certify as well. And then of course, we're also using a video conferencing application to monitor everybody at a distance. And of course, for what we do, we all use the Zoom video conferencing application. So in-person testing, everybody is very familiar with how this works. If you've done your test prior to 2020, likely 99% of you probably took it in person. And this is where all the applicants and at least 3 VEs are in the same room. And there are multiple ways we can give an in-person exam. We can give it electronically, or we can give it over pencil and paper. And yes, our club is set up to do both. And our platform that we use has the capability of generating both, and everything works as it's supposed to, as it's specifically designed. Now, proctored remote is kind of a strange situation. So proctored remote testing is offered to folks who are not able to set up 2 web cameras, or they don't have the bandwidth to set up 2 web cameras. And what happens is we do what's called we administer a proctored remote exam for those that don't have the bandwidth to meet a fully remote testing exam environment. So what we do is we put an applicant in a room with 1 camera, and that 1 applicant also has a vetted individual, and all that information on who can be a proctor can be found on our website. And then of course, remotely monitoring, we have 3 accredited volunteer examiners, and we're all doing this by video. And then of course, everything is done through our web-based exam platform and using the Zoom video conferencing application. Now, the one thing I'll tell you, proctored remote testing, fully in-person and hybrid in-person, all those types of testing are restricted by our club to those who live in Alaska. So if you live in Alaska and you want a hybrid in-person testing session, an in-person testing session, or proctored remote, you have to be in Alaska to receive those services. You don't have to be an Alaska resident, but you do have to be physically present in Alaska to receive those services from us. So people ask, why are we wanting another club in Alaska? And I understand that. I get that question a lot. You know, the moral of the story is Alaska is truthfully underserved in the worst way. It's the biggest state in the country. We have the lowest population density out of any of the states in the U.S. And really what it boils down to, the largest clubs in Alaska are not focused. They're not focused on Alaska. They're not focused on this great land that we call home. And what they're focused on their little area. They're focused on the road system. They're, focused on their little island, which is totally fine. And they tell you that they want to serve Alaska, but in reality, they don't. And that's the absolute honest truth. we personally have a heartfelt desire to bridge the technological gap with cutting edge innovation to ensure that exam delivery can be done anywhere in Alaska, and most importantly, from the comfort of somebody's own home. And we all know that logistics in Alaska are very expensive, especially if you got to fly somewhere for any particular reason. This is so critical to being able to offer a service like this to anybody who lives in Bush, Alaska, and be able to do it with the maximum utilization of technology that's available for that person. We have the means to do it. We have the resources. And again, we feel that we're able to provide that service where other clubs cannot. And then really the other thing too is we are definitely committed to serving Alaska for the long haul. We are not going to go anywhere. We have a lifelong commitment to ensuring that every person in Alaska, no matter where they're at, has the same available opportunity to take a test using the latest technology that somebody in a major city in the lower 48 does. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And we will not stop until every Alaskan has that available to them. And then our club, we're not a typical club. We are a club that has one purpose, and that's to administer examinations. We are a volunteer examiner club. We are a club that does nothing but testing. And some people would say, well, why would you need a club to do testing? Because it gives us an edge, and it gives us a name that we can put somewhere, and it just makes things so much easier from a planning perspective. So yes, we are a volunteer examiner club. We're a big team of people, but we are a volunteer examiner club. And again, administering exams is precisely what we do. So the thing that I'll tell you is we do need VEs. We are currently utilizing the ARRL, the American Radio Relay League's Volunteer Examiner Coordinator, for license testing for both in-person and remote, regardless of how the exams are delivered. But we are using them at this particular moment for license testing. So we are looking for volunteer examiners. If you are a general, advanced, or amateur extra class license holder, and you meet the minimum requirements set by Part 97 of the Commission's rules to become a VE, and you're willing to meet our requirements, and those requirements can be found by going to the page where the URL is listed in this particular slide. You're invited to apply. Also, if you live outside and you want to serve, you are most certainly eligible to do so. But please take personal note that we do give a modest preference to Alaska residents, because we want Alaskans to get involved with serving their fellow members of this great state. But at the end of the day, we will take anybody, but just be advised, especially when sessions come around, if I've got a bunch of VEs in Alaska that want to participate, they are going to get put on the roster. So that's just the way it goes. But for more information on how to become a VE with us or how to join our program, you can go to our website, wl7vec.org/VE, and that should be a .htm. So if you want, or you can go to wl7vec.org and click Become a VE at the top of the webpage, and it'll take you right to that page as well. So with that being said, how do you reach us? Well, we have a Discord server, and we'll make sure you've got links to that in the bottom of the description. Also, email works great. You can shoot us an email to info@wl7vec.org. You can also shoot us a letter through the postal mail if you want to put the USPS to work. And I sometimes think they need more work than they really deserve. And then, of course, more information, you can go to wl7vec.org/contact, and all that information on how to reach us can be found on our website. So with that being said, as president and founder of the Last Frontier Volunteer Examiner Club, I want to personally take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time to watch this.